All-Star Camp countdown has reached 2 days till Chargers rookies report. I have asked our esteemed panelists for some burning questions. Bill Barnwell, what's yours?
My burning question is whether the Steelers are actually going to trade T.J. Watt, who is up for a new deal after the season, reportedly wants to be paid appropriately as one of the highest paid edge rushers in all of football. A Steelers team that has basically made moves suggesting they're all in this offseason with a 41-year-old quarterback. And they really justify trading away their best player when they're in a position to win now with that current roster?
I don't think so. Dominique, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. I can't imagine that they would trade him for draft picks because, as Bill said, they're looking to go all in this season. Maybe they could figure out someone that's willing to do a trade like the Fitzpatrick and Jalen Ramsey trade, where you trade two talented kind of players who are still can contribute right now. But I see it as unlikely. Like, I think T.J. Watt plays for them this year, and they make as good a run as they possibly can.
Still looking for that contract extension. We will see. Kevin Clark, what's your burning question?
Is Aaron Rodgers washed? So last year in New York, he had one of his shallowest depth of target in his entire career. He got rid of the ball really quickly, and he wasn't particularly good. In fact, he hasn't been good since he won the MVP 4 years ago. Now he goes to a Pittsburgh Steelers team with a good supporting cast, DK Metcalf, who is going to give him some easy answers, and a defense that will presumably win him a bunch of games. He doesn't have to be great, but is he washed?
Bill, is he?
I believe he is washed, and unfortunately, I know this better than anybody. Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old. I am also just turned 41 years old. You don't get better. You don't get better.
We've noticed.
Unfortunately.
Sure you do.
But unfortunately, he doesn't get better. 26th in QBR in 22, missed all of 23, 25th in QBR last year with the Jets, with a roster built to his specifications. Yeah. Why is it going to be any better without that in place in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, 41's the new 39, I'm told. Dominique, what's your burning question? Dominique?
The best quarterbacks in the NFC. I think Caleb is an outstanding talent, obviously, and they've added the offensive line support that they needed, along with Ben Johnson and some talented tight end. I think Caleb Williams has a great season, but we'll see what happens if he can compete with Jayden Daniels, who right now I think is the most attractive, young, talented quarterback in football. Maybe Caleb can give him a run for his money with the talent that he has.
Like Bill, I have firsthand knowledge of the situation because I'm also one of the most talented guys in my field, let down by my supporting cast. But no, for me, last year, the Bears had one of the dumbest plans I've ever seen. A guy who holds on to the ball too long in college, put him in front of a offensive line that was going to get him the most unblocked pressures and sacks since Next Gen Stats started tracking almost a decade ago. Surprise, it didn't work out. All of a sudden, they get credibility in their coaching staff. The Bears might have solved their problem in that regard. They were able to get credibility in the offensive line. This is going to work. He's going to be great this year.
All right, Bears have a tough assignment with that division. With 3 teams ahead of them that made the playoffs last year. We'll see what Caleb can do in year 2. Let's head to Dallas now, where the Cowboys are less than 2 weeks away from heading to Oxnard for training camp, where all eyes will be on Dak Prescott, who will be given the full go for camp after missing 9 games with a hamstring injury last season. With health now on his side, Dak's been able to look ahead to growing the connection with his new wide receiver duo. Listen to what he had to say.
To be the guy that gets to get them the ball, it's exciting as hell because you can turn on the OTA tapes and one of the guys, the ball's in the air, and the other one's got his hands up celebrating already. We just got to continue to grow that and continue to make sure that that's trending the right way.
Still has CeeDee Lamb, and they got George Pickens from the all-in Steelers. Are you more optimistic or skeptical about how this is going to work?
First of all, Dak can pull off a bucket hat. Very few people can. Very few people can. I am pessimistic for a couple reasons. On the field, this can work. George Pickens, you look at his numbers as far as stretching the field, vertical routes, he's one of the 3 best in the league since he entered into this league with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, by the way, had quarterback issues. Off the field, that's where I have concerns. Number one, if Mike Tomlin offers you a skill guy in a trade, hang up the phone, block his number, never talk to him again, because he's usually going to win that trade. But then you think about the Cowboys and how they manage their contracts, how they play games, how they play out the string and seem to be, as Dominique has said many times, programming a reality show with how they deal with contracts. George Pickens is entering the last year of his deal. He's going to want to get paid. He's going to want to have the ball in his hands. This has the potential for off-season fireworks a lot.
A lot of offseason fireworks. You said quarterback issues, and that was a very subtle move by you, Kevin. He has had terrible quarterback play in Pittsburgh over the course of his career. He has the second lowest expected catch rate per the NFL's next gen stats, which has been around for almost a decade, of any quarterback or any receiver over the last 3 years. And he has the sixth highest catch rate over expectation. He has been doing more than other wide receivers would do in those same situations. And it is a bad contract spot, but for me, this is not about re-signing with the Cowboys. This is about signing elsewhere for George Pickens. This is an audition. If there's ever a reason for him to be on his best behavior in a pass-happy offense, would it not be this year with him?
He'll get right on that.
What do you think, Neek?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dak's been awesome when he's coming off of injuries, and I think we underappreciate how good a quarterback he's capable of being, particularly when you give him talent on the outside, which he's going to have this year. And I think Kevin's probably right. It does spell trouble for potential off-season issues, but we ain't at the off-season yet. We're talking about the regular season, and I think the off-season gets a lot easier if the regular season goes well. It's an uphill battle because that division is tough and getting tougher with the emergence of the Washington Commanders, but I think Dak and that talent on the edge, with him having the freedom of some help and a new head coach, I think it becomes more Dak's team, and he puts up big numbers, and the receivers, both of them are happy.
You mentioned Dak does win big when he's coming off injury. After missing the final 11 games in 2020, he went 11-5 the following year, and then after missing the final 5 games in 2022, he won 12 games and threw 36 touchdowns the next year. So if the pattern holds, Kevin, Dak should have a monster year, don't you think?
Yeah, if he's healthy. That's true of a lot of guys.
If he's healthy, are they good enough on offense for him to have to add to this kind of chart?
Yeah, this kind of chart. I just don't see a ceiling as a team that's significantly higher than it has been the last couple of years. They're the third best team in this division. I don't see any way they close the gap, not only with the Eagles, but with the Commanders. That's just a more talented roster in Washington right now. So I think Dak's going to have a vintage Dak year, and it might not matter. That's the unfortunate thing for the Cowboys right now.
Couldn't run the ball, couldn't stop the run for most of last year. They fix any of that?
I think they fixed the run defense. I think they have a better defensive coordinator in place in Matt Eberflus, who maybe stretched a little bit as a head coach in Chicago, but a very good DC in Chicago and Indianapolis. My concern, of course, is Dak staying healthy. That offensive line was inconsistent last year. I know they added another first-round pick to that mix. That offensive line is going to decide how the Cowboys' offense goes, how that team goes. Most often, when they're good, their offensive line is good.
Yeah, the offensive line made up almost exclusively of dudes named Tyler. Nick, what do you think about the Cowboys this year with Dak back healthy?
I mean, I think one of the major issues last year you alluded to was like how bad the defense was, and frankly, it can't be that much worse. Like, it's impossible to be worse than they were last year, particularly at stopping the run. So I think an improvement on the defense is inevitable, and that gives them a lot more room to work. And of course, Michael Parsons, I assume he's going to get his contract extension on day 1 of the season because that's the Cowboys way, and he'll ball out this year and put up big numbers, or maybe they don't extend